Yeah, dear colleagues, many greetings from Latvia, but I am not one. I have colleagues in my team. Please invite my colleagues.
Yes.
All right, so the first one I'm going to now is Peter Konhäusner, Vice President at Gisma University and Applied Science Berlin. Please join us on the stage. Thank you. You can sit there. Yes, please.
Yes.
And then he's just gone back to his seat, but I'm calling you again, sir, Mr. Hirpo Kumbi. Please join us on the table. An applause for him as well. Thank you. And as third, but last but not least, Professor Urs Hauenstein, please join us for this on this discussion and roundtable. A big applause for you as well. Okay, now you can move on. Thank you.
Yeah, it is very nice that Latvia will be the partner in Skillman's network, and I personally take the first time place in this Skillman Forum. 2 years ago we organized Skillman's Forum in Latvia. It was a very nice event, and thank you for this cooperation. It is really very big steps for development of vocational education and training in Latvia. I will explain the information about the Latvia. How is our cooperation with entrepreneurships and how we work together with different associations, companies and high schools in development of TVET. But before I start, maybe my colleagues can introduce yourself about cooperation with different companies in your countries. Maybe we start with Ethiopia.
Can I add a colleague of mine as well in the panel?
Professor Tony?
Yes, please.
Professor Tony, please.
Please join us on here. I will give you the microphones first. Yeah. So you can manage with this. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I think we said that Ethiopia goes first. We are breaking the round here. Professor Tony.
You never come up until you're called.
Exactly. So if I understand it correctly, the question was how we are collaborating with the universities.
In Germany collaborate with companies in development of education.
No, generally, I think in Germany one of the primary fields and formats that we have in Germany is this dual study, right? So basically, duales Studium, which means that the student is half of the time working in the company and the other half of the time, so 2 or 3 days a week, studying at the university and bringing together the best things of both worlds in that regard, a really integrated study in that regard. And I think maybe to come to the topic of the whole session, I think that TVET providers have a really big influence on entrepreneurship because they are not just talking about it, but they are doing it and they are showing how you can put something into practice, which also connects with what you just had in your keynote, that basically many universities fail on delivering practical knowledge and applied knowledge, and they're just stuck in methods and methodologies. We had this at the dinner discussion yesterday, applying some methodologies from the 80s nowadays, right? And not even thinking about renewing them. And if you think about renewing them, then many universities and say, okay, this has been good for so long, why should we change it, right? You don't invent the wheel from ground up. But I think this innovation approach, this competitiveness approach and trying to bring the whole economy and also your company to the next level. This is something that universities don't have typically. I would like to differentiate a little bit between public and private universities there also, because I think public universities might be a little bit slower, right? Because there's no need. Private universities have a little bit more urge to innovate, I think, as well. But VET companies are for sure the drivers to show young people how to run their own business and give entrepreneurial spirit. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It is very important because Latvia learned from Germany and about the dual education, but we now the same dual education that in Germany, but we have work-based learning, and it is so that some first study year students are in the company, and every next year, because studies in Latvian vocational education schools is 4 years, and with every year more and more days in the company, and it is really very good results and high quality specialists in labor market. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe Tony.
Thank you.
Give it first to Hirpo. Okay. Yes.
Thank you Urs, for helping.
Thank you so much. Yeah, collaboration is, when I say collaboration from my own experience, collaboration can begin even in Europe, because a lot of nationalities coming to Europe for one or another reason. So the traditional university, as I mentioned, not making a necessary need assessment in order to develop their curriculum. Therefore, based on the need, we, as I in my presentation, I showed the potential for collaboration or partnership, working with diaspora community in Europe is one of the best collaboration area, I would say, because the traditional or mainstream colleges and the universities, even their timetable is not suiting the need of the community. Because when diaspora comes here, they come with a family, work responsibility, and structural connection with back home, and they struggle to meet deadline or attend the classes during time based on that timetable. Now, if we addressed that issue, this is one potential area for collaboration. Thinking back home, Ethiopia and other African countries, which, again, to address your question together, everywhere need is different, even to say, okay, this is the area. When I take, for instance, Ethiopia, education quality is what the country is struggling with. Now, teachers training is important to be collaborated with. Employability is issue in general, globally, but in Ethiopia, mainly, because when I did my research, this was 2020, 64% of Ethiopian population are under 24. Can you imagine? So there is a potential actually to use for manpower to equip them vocational training, which you mentioned, and that is also another vocational area or collaboration area in vocation. In general, in the past, education is from Western country to Eastern or Africa. Now, education is from everywhere to everywhere.
Exactly. Yes.
Because
yes, exactly.
When I did my research, I assessed UK policy documents and the curriculum. When I compare that with the need in Africa, doesn't meet that need.
No. And the southern epistemologies from Africa need to be embedded in Europe, rather than northern epistemologies only embedded in Africa. I know this from my experience in South Africa and in Ghana.
So now, to beat even the market in Africa, it is time for the Western countries
Absolutely.
to make a collaboration based on the need in Africa, rather than copy and the paste of curriculum from Western country to Africa. However, vocational is still engaged with business world. That is the best form of collaboration. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I think it is very important, to know information from Africa, because for Latvia this information is not new, and new experience is the development. And what is in United Kingdom and from Liverpool, for example, Professor?
I mean, the person who should be sitting here is not me, it should be Gary Miller. Gary Miller has done more for entrepreneurship in this city than any other single person. But let me just explain, I mean, there are so many different models of how we integrate educational systems and business development systems. One of the things we do at our university, there are many universities around the United Kingdom that use a program called Young Enterprise. Normally that is offered to students as a way of them discovering, if they wish, what it means to be an entrepreneur, to work in a business startup, to set up their own company. One of the things we do at our university is we require every single student within the business school to be part of a startup company. Now, this is a different model to embedding students in businesses. That is very vital model. But what we do is we require our students to start a business themselves with business mentors. People perhaps not as brilliantly qualified as Gary is in this. We tried for years to get Gary to be one of our mentors, but he's so busy with so many things. But having business mentors work with our students to see from scratch what it means to start from before an idea, actually to develop a business right to the point of sale and beyond, actually that expresses a level of innovation and a level of entrepreneurial development that we've seen is way beyond actually asking students to pick and choose things. And teaching, I teach classes on entrepreneurship and innovation, and I think it's a waste of time, because actually teaching the classes is not the experience. And the experience, and some of the things we can learn from an African Southern epistemology, is that practice and actually doing in community and in relationship, discovering relationship before you do anything, which is the African way. That is a vital part of what the Northern world needs to learn in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship. And we've made some little steps in our university. Gary is a past master at helping people understand who they are, their relationships and collaborative capacity with other people, and build on that. And we think this is really vitally important. But what TVET and what Skillman add now to the mix is the potential to pick up skilled tools in a much faster, slicker, and more informed way than we've been able to do in the past. And so we're really excited about embedding the Skillman network into what we're doing in our university, because that will take us to a new level.
Thank you very much, because it is very important that every student houses entrepreneurships and business ideas and how possibilities to develop own business. Before Urs, I will.
Can I just add one thing?
Yeah.
If I could just add one thing. What we say to our students is the main thing that you will learn is not technical expertise. It's not specifically about business development. It's about how to relate to other people. Because the key skill, as we all know, within business is the ability to connect, to relate, and to build relationships. And that is absolute, and there is no substitute for that. You can't teach it in a classroom. You can only point people to it. But actually, when students and when learners engage in that relationship building themselves in a business environment, then all sorts of innovation flies.
Thank you very
Ilze,
much.
your presentation.
Before Urs, I will bring my presentation with the ideas how is in Latvia, because Urs very well know Latvia. Urs is our visiting professor in International Baccalaureate Career Education Teaching Program in Latvia. Very nice, he's experienced. Vocational education is special education and need to bring high quality specialists to labor market. And the first step, vocational education schools in Latvia, how in cooperation with different associations. And for example, the school take part in the association, write the agreement, and work together with different associations, that teaching programs how the school. For example, here is one example for Licta is IT technologies, Lettera is electronic technologies, wood industry. I am from vocational education, but today I am represent the cheese club. It bring together milk production companies. It is through this cheese club I will entrepreneur this cooperation with association. Here is cheese club logo. Representatives from association is delegate to take part in vocational education schools conventions. In cooperation with association, we make new teaching programs, organize future education seminars for students and teachers, organize professional competition, and the association, it is very important, award best students, best teachers, and the staff from the school, and these best students how better possibilities in labor market, because with special assessment go to labor market, support and take part in development in teaching programs for adults. For example, representatives from association is visiting lectures in these teaching programs, and of course it is very important to take part in different career events and bring the reclama about the profession that connect this association. The first step is association. But next step is companies and the school, how agreements with many companies, for example, the school, how more than 1,000 companies that it is possibilities to have practice places. And after good practice, it is possibilities for the student to work in this company. From beginning 2000 is the idea about the dual education in vocational education. It is experience from Germany, from Austria, from Switzerland. And from 2013 is really not dual education but work-based learning, and from first study years the student is in the company. It is very important because the student have possibilities to learn this profession and know like this profession or not. Companies take part in teacher training. Companies award students with scholarship, for example, participate in teaching programs for adults, and for example, adults take part in practical experience in companies too, and future education seminars with teachers and students too, and participate in different career events. For example, business days in the school. And we have very good cooperation with high schools, with universities. It is very important, and it is agreement between vocational education school and university, and it is education, it is visiting professors that is coming to vocational education school, guest lectures, participation in career education because university-wide have good students, cooperation through use modern equipment. For example, Latvian Agriculture University, the name is the Latvian Bioscience and Technology University, it's changing last time the name. How not harvesters and forwarders, these big forestry machines in the university, but the students go to Ogre Technical School and learn 1 month with this wood machines and learn now these technologies. And our teacher, the teacher from the school, work with the students. And I think it is very important that the best students that have very good results in education, when she graduates at school, how this certificate that she have possibilities to go to study is states supported teaching programs. It is our cooperation with different high schools. And of course this cooperation is not for one direction, but is cooperation together because the school need high quality for teaching process, but the companies need high quality specialists. It is the briefly information about our cooperation with different companies, association and high schools, and maybe Urs can develop this idea about cooperation in Switzerland and of course in Latvia, because from our meetings we know very well the situation in our countries.
Many thanks. I think I really has to say that I'm utterly impressed by my visits in Latvia. I'm on the one hand I'm the president of Swiss Quality, so I'm looking to qualities, and that they invited me to get a visiting professor for Latvia for this pilot project of the ministry, and as a pilot project in the Baltic states. That is important, and that they are connecting vocational education training with entrepreneurial thoughts is incredible. And that brings this innovation character, which we heard as well from Africa. And I'm happy to work with Hirpo together, because he is a profound knower and researcher in this field of higher education and vocational education training. So these things should come together. And that can say me why I'm sitting here in this panel. I have founded an institute group. First I founded an institute, the Hauenstein Institute, as a legacy for me and the future. And then I got more investors who want to support this. And from the Hauenstein Institute in Zurich, we got developed a Hauenstein Institute group, who should have a seat in UK, in Italy, in Germany, in Romania, and maybe as well in Africa or elsewhere. But we discussed yesterday as well in the Baltic states. So, and what we are doing, you can see that maybe on my slide, Alessandro, very short, and then I will give it over. In this, all these technical changes, but he is able to do that, and therefore I say, the Hauenstein Institute has a clear message. We are trying to look to the futures. I explained yesterday about the difference of future and futures. And you can see here, the world for the futures, and we're speaking about regenerating systems for the Anthropocene with sustainability and artificial intelligence. We believe that this is at the moment that what the world is needing. And you see here in the photo behind the view from the Milk Street to the planet Earth. And that is this situation, what the planet Earth needs for a regeneration, for a metamorphosis of life, for a good change. Future will happen, but we need to have a good future and good futures. And that is not easy done. We have heard yesterday John Patterson about the world of the blinds and deaf people. And he said, we has to be active. We has to do something. And therefore I want to give Professor Tony Bradley as well the micro, because he is the new director of sustainability in this institute group. And maybe he can say something about sustainability for the futures, what that means.
I'll just get my notes up, because I don't want to miss any of my points. Can I just say that this has been a wonderful conference. Maybe not quite as many people as you might have hoped, but the quality of the presentations, the extent of the innovative thinking, the integration of different worldviews has been absolutely spectacular. I think we do need to thank Giovanni, Urs, Stefania, all the other leaders for bringing this excellent conference here. Could we just do that? And thank you. And it's also, I just wanted to say it's been my real privilege and honor to get to know this man over the last 2 to 3 years. As soon as Urs and I started to get to know one another, we realized that we were on a very similar page and working in a very similar way of thinking. And one of the things, as Urs has just said, in terms of preparing as best we can in our own ways for the futures within the Anthropocene, bringing together sustainability skills, TVET, and looking at AI, we have a distinctive approach to sustainability. That is to recognize that it's a buzzword. 30 years ago, Bill McKibben said sustainability was a buzzless buzzword, a meaningless concept, because it was used in so many different ways. But what we see is that it's not simply about acting in the present to ensure futures in green and environmental senses. Rather, we see a more holistic perspective, which relates sustaining people systems and communities, to sustaining the values, cultures, and human journeys that we're each on. Of course, to sustain ways of life that take circular production and consumption, low carbon futures, enhancing natural capital seriously, but also to sustain productivity, prosperity, and profitability. And we call this a 4Ps sustainability cycle: people, purpose, planet, and prosperity. Not as distinct fields, but integrating together in a cyclical process of development. This is one of the things that I believe the Hauenstein Institutes, as I thought it was the Hauenstein Institute this morning, but then Urs explained to me that we're now moving in so many different countries. The Hauenstein Institute will be able to bring to this world of sustainability. And one of our tasks is to develop a suite of digitally badged micro-credentials that enable the holistic, integral, full-spectrum approach to sustainability. We've already mapped 25 of these, but one of the things that has come out of the conversation for me this morning, and I'm grateful to Peter for stimulating this, is that in the development of all our particular skills,
result. Maybe Professor Peter comments
Comment on what?
about Hauenstein Institute.
Oh yes, for sure. I can talk for hours about this. So basically, as so I think that the Hauenstein Institute, as you also outlined, Tony, and as I've heard from Urs, this is an amazing initiative, right? In terms of future-proof research, but not only combining this future-proof research to testimonials, how you can have a nice application of these methodologies in the right in different industries in different countries, right? And in that regard, I was also delighted to learn that the Hauenstein Institute will be in different countries and hopefully also in different continents. So because I think to make this really applied and to have this outreach, you need to have different local players involved, right? It cannot be just in Italy, it cannot just be in UK, it cannot be just in Germany, or Switzerland, right? But it has to be really a global initiative and a global institutional approach. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Ethiopia, professor from Ethiopia, what does your things?
Thank you so much. I think I have a huge hope on this institution because he is coming from the experience. Remember, I was made a little criticism on traditional university. He worked in the university, he understood the gap in the university. He understood the need of diaspora or the community. He understood the world. This institution is coming because of the need. I'm just finalizing a book on Ethiopian higher education, almost done in-house. I launched a book recently on my academic research, thinking his understanding of the world. I have a huge hope, and best wishes.
Yeah, I think thank you to my colleagues about our experience, and we wish to Hauenstein Institute all the best in the development, the idea, new ideas, and innovative ideas. Thank you.